Okay, I want to point out that you're going to be working on this individually, not as a group. You got the sample database, that's what we're using, and we're going to do it. So we already did, of course they wanted Project 9, last name. I just put my name on it, but that's the protocol for doing this. Go ahead and put Project 9 in your last name. It's going to automatically save as an access database type. Okay, so you don't type the .accdb. You just let that go ahead and it'll know that. Okay, and we opened it and we looked at our medic ID, and that's this first part telling you what are you. So if you forget what I just said in the video, you can go ahead and do that. I found out that I was a novice. Okay, we're going to develop our queries and reports. Okay, we've looked at the 5 tables. We're going to create 4 additional queries, 2 reports, and a form. So we're going to focus on the tables. Sorry, the light got a little bad, but I'll try and improve that. There we go. Okay, so rows are basically contain data, and each column contains the same type. Think of those columns as column headers. We actually call those fields. Okay, recon missions, this is just a brief description of what's contained in each of those 5 tables. Relationships this is a relationship diagram. And as you can see, the herd ID is connected to the herd ID in the other table. So this allows me to connect any information in one table to the other using this herd ID. We've got a city ID here that allows me to do the known herds to the city. And then we've got city ID to city ID here, so vaccinations to city. And medics, of course, goes with the vaccination missions. They have a medic ID. As long as they have a field in common, you can relate the 2 tables and collect information from both tables. Okay, so anything that has a similar field can be connected. Okay, and they've pre-set up some relationships, so these already exist. We don't have to create those. Okay, a city may have many known herds, but known herds can only have one city. So, okay, well, I'm looking for, don't worry about that part. We found our link, we went ahead and we replaced last name with our name. So we opened the database and see the tables, and we clicked on the medical ID and we found our medic and we found our ID. So the first part of this is done. Okay, so here's your details. Your database structure, forms and reports. We're going to focus on the tables. Okay, and then our relationships. And again, if you read these details, it is not hard. Here is our assignment steps. Start, if you have a printer, you can print this off. If not, I really recommend just saving this on your desktop in Word so that you can go back and forth between the 2 without having to stay in eCampus. Okay, this is our primary key, or what we call a key. We're going to create 5 fields in the student information. Okay, let's see if I can keep these both up at the same time. Okay, so we're going to go down to the create. Does everybody see create up here? We're going to hit create, and we are going to create a whole new table. Okay, now we haven't named it yet, so we can right-click on this, save the table, and we are going to name it student information. Okay, once we've done that, we've got it. Okay, now do you see that it says student information up here? Okay, so we're still in student information. There's actually 2 ways to do this. We've got this view up here, sorry, and we can go into the data sheet view or the design view. I kind of like the design view when we're trying to add. You can do it from here. I can click on this. I can change this name. This is telling you your data type. Your data type is short text where you can put anything in there. You can have a number only field, which we sometimes do for ID numbers. We've got currency, date and time, that yes, no box, kind of a true false. Lookup and relationship. We're not really going to worry about these. Hyperlinks, of course, will lead you to like a website or some other spot. So we have to decide when we look at what we're trying to create. This one is project manager number, and we want to make it an auto number. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into my view. Does everybody see view up here? And I'm going to go into design view just because I think it's easier to deal with it. Okay, we have an ID and it is an auto number. Okay, and that works fine, except we want to label it project manager number. So we're going to change the name of this, project manager. It'll take it however you spell it, but it's usually a good idea to try and ID. Okay, and notice that the data type is already an auto number. Okay, so we now have project manager ID, auto number. We're going to go down to the next field and we're going to type in the next one we need. So the next thing we need is full name. It's going to be a text field. Okay, it's going to store your name as it appears on eCampus. And so that's you to type in. Length and size of this field should be 255 characters. Okay, so we're going to put name and the data type. Oh. Okay. What did they tell me to call it? Full name, sorry. Okay, so it'll take full name. You notice that I'm on short text, and if you look real carefully, the field size is 255, so we don't have to change that. It's an automatic. Okay. And that's a short text. Go down to the next field, and we're going to add course and section. Sorry. Okay, and our course and section is going to be a text field. And we're doing that so that it can take these things like the dashes and the BCIS. A text field, again, is one that can take numbers or letters. Okay, the month of birth. Okay, so again, I'm going to have to come down here. I'm using this to get down. When I go down, it creates a new place for me to type. Okay, so you're going to have to do that each time. Okay, so my month of birth, and this is how we will know whether you selected the right level on your, whether it's expert, novice, whatever. Okay, so the month of the birth, and that is going to have only the number of the month, okay? So when we finally add things, so it's going to be a number data type. That's what you care about. Number data type. And the last thing we're going to do is the date started. This should be the date you began the project. So we're going to go ahead and add date started. And the data type is going to be what? Should be a date. And they want this particular format of a date. So when I go into a date and time, there is a default. Okay, these date pickers means it will actually allow you to have a little calendar. If you look at the formats over here, if you look off to the right, there's always sometimes it'll be 3 dots, sometimes a down. They want you to pick the date the way they had it, which I think this is typically just the short date. And if you're in Europe, they do dates a little differently. So they do the year first. We're going to go ahead and pick our short dates, typically what we use here. And if you notice, it's month, day, year. Okay. Sometimes we put this as MM/DD/YYYY. It's a little more common. But anyway, should not have decimals because obviously it's numeric. Okay. And close the table. Okay, so how do we close the table? We're going to come up here, we're going to right click, and I'm going to save it. You shouldn't have to, but I'm a little anal, I always do. Okay, so if you notice over here, we now have a new table called student information, and we're going to actually put information into it. And this is going to be your information. So we're back in the data sheet view. Notice this is an auto number, so we're not going to do anything to that. We are going to type your name in, and I'm going to type my name in, sorry. This thing's a little bit in the way. Jody Cunningham. Okay, and course and section is BCIS. And you might be in 1305, you might be in 1405. I don't care if you have a dash in there or not. The month of your birth, in my case, it's a 7. And the date started is going to be, this is 04/29/ and again, remember when I told you there was a calendar picker? That's what this is right. Sorry, I lost my mouse. Right there. You can also click on the date and it will autofill. Okay, that's probably a little easier. So now we've got our first record in there. And let's see if they want you to add any more. Okay. There are the fields. Nothing should be cut off or truncated when you're entering. The date, we've got the date correct. The number of the month, and close the table. Okay, no. Sometimes they want you to add extra people, but I guess that's all we need. So again, we're going to right click up here and save, and we finished our first table with our information. Okay, see how I can, actually my name's cut off. I'm going to grab right in between my headers and just make that a little bigger. Okay, if I want the word project manager ID, I can pull that to the right also. I should be able to read the entire thing. Okay, section, month of birth, date started is fine, and click to add. Okay, so now I can see all my information and all my titles. And again, save one more time. Again, these will auto-save when you close, but it doesn't hurt to save them. Okay, step 1 is done. So what's step 2? Okay, we're on 3 actually. We're going to create a query to display all the medics who died after April 15th, 2014. We're going to include all the columns, but we're going to limit the rows displayed from the medics table. So be sure to save the query object with an appropriate name when prompted to do so. Okay, the query when run should display 3 rows of data. Okay, so April 15th, 2014. Let's go ahead and open up. We're going to go ahead and, this is our medics table. If you notice, there is a date deceased. Okay. All right, so April 15th, 2014. we're going to create a query. And I'm going to go ahead and, I'm sorry, I didn't show you that part. I went ahead and went into create, and you'll notice there's a query wizard and a query design. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do, it wants all of these, so just double click them. And I'm showing you one way, and then I will maybe show you the other way. Okay, there's all of my, in my query, you'll notice I have all of these that have shown up. Let's see which one I'm missing. City, known herds. Don't see known herds. So I need to double click that one. There's known herds. And then it looks like I've got 2 recon missions. Let's see if I can delete this one. Or I'll have to do it later. All right. Actually, that's wrong.